how to manipulate players using the genres of your game. Manipulation sounds kind of sinister, but it's something that we need to do as game designers. The more we know about our players, the more we can manipulate their little brains into squeezing out dopamine and making them have fun and enjoy their time, enjoy feeling clever, love our games, and so on. So today we're talking about genre, which I find not to be the most exciting topic when people hear it. That's why I think I put the word manipulate in there, because people love to hear about manipulation and how to manipulate. But it's absolutely true. Because genre is the category of your game, and in you categorizing your game, you're setting up expectations for players. And if players have expectations, well, then you can either lean into those expectations and give them what they want, or you can subvert those expectations and absolutely give them some twists and leave them talking about your game forever and ever and ever. So let's talk about it. Let's start with just what genre is in board games specifically. And as always, most of this applies to video games as well. So if you're making video games, probably this applies to you. Genre is kind of a wide range. It's just the category that people put your game in. So the category could be deck building, or it could be, dungeon crawling. So it could be the mechanic of the game, it could be the setting of the game, or the theme of the game. And of course, setting and theme are different things. They're very similar things. Just in board games, very often we won't have quite a theme. It's more of a where are you sometimes, because of the way we abstract. But let's talk about it. So when you hear a genre, you are going to immediately think of things. So like if a player hears deck building, if he's played deck builders before, he's gonna associate things that need to be in a deck builder, right? You're gonna have a starting deck. You're going to feel progress. You're going to have a card market to make your deck better. You're going to have card mechanics like draw a card, discard, trash, etc. If you hear dungeon crawler, let's use a different color, you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to expect some exploration, heroes, you are going to expect some leveling up, items. What else goes into a dungeon crawler? Sometimes the theme could actually imply some mechanics. So, like with the dungeon crawler, you can absolutely expect it to have more randomness just than a farming game, for instance. It's tolerated a little bit more in that genre. You're also, another way that theme can inform mechanics is you can expect to have a combat mechanic in a dungeon crawler. So, whatever your game is, whatever categories it's in, know what those expectations are and lean into them. So because that is going to tell you why a player wants to play your game. So one of your options, lean into expectations. So why is my player playing games? I've heard Quentin Tarantino talk about this, the director. He talks a lot about genre films, right? Like westerns and kung fu movies. And he takes inspiration from those. Very often he mixes the genres up. But another thing he does is he exaggerates. So if you know you're gonna watch a Western, you're gonna expect, one of the things you're gonna expect is a bar fight scene. And in a Tarantino movie, it's gonna be super exaggerated. You're gonna have a 10-minute fight, that really scratches the itch of, that's why I came to see the Western. So leaning into a mechanic, let's give an example. So we're talking about deck building. To me, the first game I think about when I think about leaning into deck building is Hero Realms. Or Dominion, of course. So both of these games are just clean deck builders, but you go in and you want card synergies. You want to build a deck throughout the game You want at the beginning of the game for you to just have coins and damage, and then by the end of the game to have like these different abilities that play off of each other, and you're dealing a ton more damage than you did at the beginning of the game. All of that is in both of these games, Hero Realms and Dominion. And you absolutely can do that, and that is a very fun thing to do. You give players what they want. Another thing you could do is you could subvert the expectations. And this is really good for marketing your game. So like if a player can ask, hey, what's that game about? And you can say, oh, it's a co-op trick-taking game. That was like 3 words. I just told you the genres, but also they subvert expectations just by saying that. It's a co-op trick-taking game. Because that's a clash, right? Because typically trick-taking games are competitive, but a game like The Crew is not. And I think that can really help your game, because it immediately gets a question in players' minds. How does that work? How do you get trick-taking? How do you make that cooperative? Right? There's a lot of games like this. You could also just mixing genres like that. Like there was one year when Dune Imperium came out at the same time as Lost Ruins of Arnak, at the same time as Endless Winter. And all of those were deck building, worker placement games. Those were the 2 main mechanics, and it's something that at least I'm not aware of having it existing before, having those hybrids. So hybrid games automatically subvert expectations. Because you're automatically thinking, how is that going to work? And hybrid games, if you're new to game design, is a really good starting point, I think, because you can take 2 existing games that you like and mix them together and ask the question of, what would this look like if it was also this? So yeah, knowing about your game's genre. Today is a pretty quick video, but it can be very important. It can be very useful for the audience that's looking at your game and making them want to play it. You can use it to make them have more fun by subverting their expectations, by changing something that's a trope of a genre. And ultimately lead them to have a really good player experience. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm Ivan. I make games for a living, and if you need help with your games, I have left some links in the description. Thank you.